you beautiful movie lovers, my name is Louie, aka Movie Fandom, and I hope you all missed me. There's gotta be someone out there, right? All shitty jokes aside, we are finally talking about Dune Part 2, which has probably been my second most anticipated movie of 2023, and it got delayed to this year, which I still can't believe I watched the first movie again the night before it was announced and waking up to the news. It made me sad. But anyways, Dune Part 2. I loved it. Throughout the past month of people seeing it, people have been calling it one of the greatest movies of all time, the greatest sci-fi movie, the greatest or one of the greatest sequels of all time, or, well, either the best or one of the best of all of those, and I was already excited for this movie already. I loved the first Dune, and I loved Denis Villeneuve, especially now watching some of his movies for the first time that I hadn't seen before, like Incendies and Prisoners, which I really loved, and I got a lot more excited for it because of that, and not just for the reasons I was already excited for, and I couldn't wait to see it, and now finally seeing it, yes, I did love it. Do I think it's the greatest movie ever? No! There are some things to criticize, but even at that, they are mostly nitpicks to me, at least in my opinion, or, well, they feel like that. This movie is... wow. Wow. First off, I'm gonna get the obvious stuff out of the way, and the most obvious part off here is the visuals, and holy shit, is this some of the best visual effects I have probably ever seen. I don't think this is the most visually stunning movie of all time, but it is one of the most visually stunning movies indeed, and it is maybe at least in my top 5 most visually stunning movies, maybe even top 3 for that matter. It is so breathtaking. Like, all the look of it, the sand and the spice with it in the wind is just incredible. It gets you in that atmosphere off it, and with action scenes in general is incredible, especially in the third act, which may I just say, the third act for this movie is incredibly satisfying. There are a lot of scenes in here that just were visually stunning, obviously. The sandworm scenes in here were just mind-blowing. Even explosions in here were kind of mind-blowing, and a lot of it was really well done, obviously, and it genuinely blew me away. But another factor of that, which is as good as the visuals, is the cinematography, which, may I just say, improves so much on the original. Even with the original not having the best shot in one scene, that wasn't bad by any means, just not the best, it is incredible in here. The cinematography, just, oh my god! Greg Fraser, I want to congratulate you on your hopefully upcoming Oscar win, cause if you are not, then, we will all be going on a rampage, but thank you so much for beautiful things like this. You are already a legend to me, and you are going to go down in the history books. Cinematography and visuals are a part of the world building in here, on us exploring Arrakis and this world, on learning about the lore, and in here it really does an incredible job, and in my opinion, a much better job with this movie, more than the original does, and I really loved it. The look of it was incredible. I loved the brightness of it and the darkness of it. The lighting is incredible, and I mean genuinely. And not mention there's one scene with Austin Butler's character, who I'll get to later, called, Thad, I am probably pronounced that wrong, but, where it is black and white in this gladiator ring, and I loved it, and that scene itself was terrifying, setting up this character. That scene genuinely terrified me, and I really loved it. And with it being in black and white, it is kind of feeling like it's, like World War II, at some points, outside off the gladiator ring. It was incredible. I loved the ink, splashes, that it looked like when there were fireworks being set off in there. I thought it was really well done. And also, Hans Zimmer doing the score again. Oh boy. I am not lying to you, this may be Hans Zimmer's best, yeah. I don't know, maybe I'm just overreacting with that, but from what I can think of anyways, I cannot think of a score that Hans Zimmer has done that is so this epic, impactful, and overall, just amazing as this movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have obvious stuff from him like Interstellar and Inception, Man of Steel, etc., but I mean, Christ. I mean, maybe it is maybe I do prefer the Lion King score, over this, but still, I mean, Jesus Christ. It is so well done in here. With action scenes, it just is perfect, it's loud enough, and it's just, the sound of it just is so impactful, especially in that third act where the music just goes, well, not really like that, but like, you know, I'm just saying, I love it, okay? I deeply apologize for that. My point I am trying to get across here is that the score in here is incredible in about every way. So what I'm trying to say is, Hans Zimmer better win it. Okay, but enough with my, overreaction there. Let's talk about the story in here. And one of my biggest issues with the, first movie that I have definitely come to lessen dislike a little bit, on my most recent rewatch of that movie is that somewhat felt a little emotionally distant. It did kind of, and while I did feel emotions like sorrow and all the emotions I was trying to get across, at times it did feel somewhat emotionally distant, kind of like Napoleon, where that entire movie was just emotionless from the start, but I mean, still, I did feel the emotions for that movie. In here, though, I am probably gonna take back my criticism for the first movie now, because holy shit, the story in here is incredible, and emotionally it is also amazing. I loved the world building a lot more in here, since while we did get great world building in the first, I mean, in there it was more of a setup with things, like we didn't really see a lot, but in here, we get a lot, and even with us getting a law of Arrakis, with many things that we learn off it, and with the lore of this world, and the prophecy, it is really great to just see this planet a lot more. And also, at times, a lot more others, like I mentioned, the black and white parts where Austin Butler's character is, which I really loved. I really loved the world building in here, and I loved the emotion in here, and also the story itself, it is written brilliantly. Like, I was invested the entire time, and for a runtime that is 166 minutes, where the first movie was kind of slow, I didn't really feel that runtime at all, and while I did at certain points feel like I did feel it a little bit, it really did fly by for the most part. I mean, it was incredible, it was brilliantly paced, it had an incredible story, I absolutely loved it. The writing in here was great, and with a lot of twists we get in here, you feel shocked. I don't know if they're in the book. I will probably read them, most likely, but, I don't know, but there are a lot of twists in here that were shocking and were brilliantly executed the way they were done. But yeah, it really was incredible in every way. I loved the pacing, the story, the emotion in here. It was just So good. And now on to the acting in here, and as the first movie, it is incredible. And here, it is a lot better. Timothée Chalamet in here, I loved Paul Atreides a lot more in this movie. He is definitely someone who in this movie is seeking out for revenge, and he will do anything to do it. But the more it goes on, he is more about on freeing these people, while he is also getting his revenge. And you really see that, and it doesn't really shy away from what he is doing. And I loved his character in here. It made him more interesting as a protagonist and as a character in general, and I think Timothée Chalamet may have given his best performance. I don't know, it is that or Call Me By Your Name for me, but I really did love his performance in here. Zendaya, who I was expecting to have a lot of screen time in the original movie, but she didn't really, but in here though, she does, and while not that much, I really did love her performance in here, and I thought her character was really well developed a lot more in here. I really loved her performance and character a lot more in here, and Rebecca Ferguson is phenomenal in this movie. I mean, maybe she is the second best performance off this movie. I don't know. It is hard because there is a lot of good performances in here, but she is incredible. And when something happens with her character, I was expecting her to go insane and just her becoming Gollum, because she literally gave me Gollum vibes in a way where she just wanted to kill everyone. And while I'm not really gonna say anything about it, but what they do with that part of the movie with her, it was really great. It was really fascinating and interesting, and I really wanted to know where it would go. And especially with something that made me feel like she was a crazy person. I have no idea what I'm even saying anymore. However, the best performance in this movie that mainly everyone has been talking about is without an absolute doubt Elvis himself, Austin Butler. Which, may I say, how does this man go from Elvis talking baby, baby, baby all the time to a complete psychopath? Holy shit, was he good in this movie. And he did have a lot less screen time than I expected, but whenever he was on screen, he steals the show as this horrifying person who is a complete psychotic killer who will kill anyone, no matter what. In fact, he'll just slit someone's throat just for it, just to do it. I mean, really, he was incredible in this movie. I absolutely believed his character. I mean, holy shit, he was so good in this. If you want a reason to watch this movie, he is one of the main reasons to see it, because he really does deserve an Oscar nomination for supporting actor more than he did for leading role in Elvis. I mean, holy shit, I do not recognize him at all. That I, for some reason, at the same time was convinced, how is that Austin Butler? How? Okay, look, I'm so overreacting with it, but still, I mean, his performance in here, so goddamn good. And also, like him, there are a bunch of newcomers coming into this cast who I also really liked. Florence Pugh, who was in it a lot less more than I also expected, but I did really think she was good in this movie, though I definitely think her character was a little weak and was mainly just there for some stuff in here. And also with the ending with her, I wasn't really the biggest fan of, but still, I did enjoy her character enough. And also Christopher Walken, as expected in here, is also brilliant, and I really loved his performance in here. And while I did really love this movie, there is one tiny issue I do have that doesn't really detract from it. In fact, it is kind of a big issue with it, but in my opinion, it doesn't detract from this movie, is that, like the first movie with its cliffhanger ending, and while it doesn't really end suddenly like the first movie that much, in here though, it does really feel like it's setting up the third movie, Dune Messiah, which I am really excited for whenever that gets greenlit, And if it doesn't, then I am going to kill everyone at Warner Brothers, and by kill everyone, I mean David Zaslav. I should also probably mention that was a joke. I am sorry. Please, please, please don't take this down. And while I did think the ending itself was pretty good enough, at the same time, though, it does really feel like it's a setup, like it is a part 2 very much, and even as much as I loved it, it really does feel like a part 2 in that sense. Even at that, this movie is kind of a masterpiece. And by masterpiece, I'm not saying it's perfect. Like I said, there are some flaws and tiny criticisms I have with this movie. But for the most part anyways, I absolutely love this movie, and while this isn't fully my favorite movie of the year in terms of UK releases, technically for 2024 releases, this is my personal favorite from what I have seen so far, and I cannot wait to see it again. I am seeing it very soon, and I cannot wait to see it again, even on a bigger screen. Christopher Nolan, that this was basically the Empire Strikes Back of Dune, and while I do agree with that sentiment, I'd also say put in Star Wars in general, as well as Lord of the Rings, and at times you can sprinkle in a little bit of Romeo and Juliet. While it doesn't really give off that vibe, I did hear someone say it, and it does kind of fit that a little bit, but still, you got this incredible movie. This movie is epic in every way. This is the Lord of the Rings of sci-fi. If Dune Messiah is better, this will probably be up there with the greatest trilogies of all time, like a Dark Knight or Lord of the Rings. It is incredible in about every way possible. Please, oh please, watch this movie. And if you have not seen the first movie, what is wrong with you? Go watch it and go watch this. Please, oh please do it. I loved this movie so much. It is incredible in every way. I cannot wait for Dune Messiah whenever that comes out. Denis Villeneuve, you are an absolute legend. And I give Dune Part 2 an A+. So those are my thoughts on Dune Part 2. What did you think about this movie? Did you love it, hate it? Let's agree, disagree down below in the comments. Come and tell me. Sorry for the absence for a while. I don't know what came over me, but yeah, I am back now, and I do have some reviews coming soon. Hopefully, there are some things I do want to review. So yeah, and that's it right now. I may do a video on the Oscars also after that is aired, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. So yeah. Anyways, I guess that's it from me right now. But yeah, that's it right now, and as always, stay awesome.